my wife says to her, well, you know, in the next couple of years, I think maybe you're going to want to hang around the city more on the weekends so you can see boys. You know what my daughter says? She says, that's sexist.
Isn't that, you know, it's amazing.
That they just want to use these words. That's racist. That's sexist. That's prejudiced. They don't even know what they're talking about.
That's Jerry Seinfeld on the herd, baby. Love Colin. Anyway, talking about how America's culture has become too PC. With us now to talk about that, Mary Catherine Ham and Guy Benson. They're the co-authors of the new book, End of Discussion. How the left's outrage industry shuts down debate, manipulates voters, and makes America less free and fun. We see this all the time. Hey, Barnacle. Heilman. We're doing a show over here, okay?
Good Lord.
Jerry and Elaine, keep it down.
Shutting down speech, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but I mean, we three see this all the time. You know, and there are certain things that you have to be very careful about talking about. And my pet peeve is this. People want let's have a true discussion on race. What I have found and what Nika found in a very stinging way several months ago is people don't want a real discussion on race. They want to find the 15 seconds where your mind wandered and you said something stupid, and then for the next 5 days, you and your children see you being called a racist, and it shuts it down completely.
Right. Often the first person to say they want a national conversation is the last person to actually want to engage in a conversation. We would like that to be different, which is why we wrote End of Discussion. We noticed, as people who are coming up in political commentary especially, that more and more subjects were off limits and scary. And it's not just for public figures, which is what bothered us and made us write the book. Even private citizens these days, they're sort of plausibly public if they put something on Facebook, and they can become a national news story, and they should not have to live by the same rules that we do.
Yeah, but you know, there was a book called The Closing of the American Mind.
Yes.
Alan Bloom, 25 years ago. And it was, I mean, for me, it was a very important book, sort of, in my development. But he was warning about the PC police back then. I thought we'd gotten past it, but it's just gotten worse in many respects.
Political correctness has been with us, unfortunately, for many decades. But I think what we're seeing now, especially in an age of social media, is that a lot of this craziness is being born on campus, but then it's being weaponized in the media, weaponized in Washington, D.C., and it's proliferating across the country, and it's sort of seeping into all elements of American life.
Give us a specific example.
Well, I think an example that just in the news this week, beyond the Jerry Seinfeld stuff, which is more on the fun side of our book about how they're sort of robbing us of laughter as well, there are these gay hotel owners in New York City who had dinner with Ted Cruz. One of them donated to Ted Cruz. There have been boycotts and all these people very angry at them. One of those gentlemen was on Fire Island on vacation over the weekend, and a patron confronted him for having dinner with Ted Cruz.
Breaking bread.
And there were shouting, and the whole restaurant started shouting, and he was escorted out of this bar on vacation, being jeered at and yelled at. I mean, that is the literal ending of discussion. That is not good.
Also, I've got to say, while we're on that front, I'm more of a libertarian, so you've just never heard me scream and yell about marriage equality or gay marriage being a bad thing. But what bothers me is the discussion is over. And if you side with, let's say, people who have a view of marriage that it should be between a man and a woman, a 4,000-year institution.
Mainstream position.
Mainstream position. The predominant position in 2004, 2005, 2006. But if you even have a discussion, say, you know, I kind of think it should be between a man and a woman, then you're a bigot.
Right.
I mean, that is another discussion that has been shut down. And again, I'm more libertarian on this stuff.
So are we.
Right? But still, it disturbs me. And we had this talk a couple weeks ago, right, Willie, about this religious freedom law, where these people were immediately bigots because they found it morally wrong.
And sort of the reason that we took up writing End of Discussion was the Brendan Ike incident at Mozilla, when the guy who founded this tech company was ousted because he had given to Proposition 8, which won in true blue California, by the way. It was a traditional marriage proposition. At the time, Barack Obama was not pro-sex marriage. So it was definitely a mainstream position. And it wasn't his conduct or the way he treated his employees. It was the political thought crime.
He just contributed to a campaign that the majority of Californians, the same year Barack Obama got elected, agreed with.
Guy, I want to ask you, because you mentioned college campuses, and I do think the climate there is a lot different today than it was even 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was in college. And I've noticed, not as a political analysis, but just as something that strikes me as odd, is that there's a lot of canceling of graduation speakers because they don't hold the right points of view. Or if they do allow conservative to speak on a campus, they have to provide safe spaces for students to go because they might hear something that contradicts their beliefs.
Microaggressions, and trigger warnings.
When did this start? Where did it come from?
Well, it is an accelerating trend, which is one of the details that we have in End of Discussion, saying this is not, it doesn't just feel worse, it actually is worse. Condoleezza Rice 2 years ago at Rutgers.
That was stunning. We're absolutely blown away.
Christine Lagarde.
Yeah, Christine Lagarde at an all-women's school, disinvited. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, disinvited. I mean, there's sort of one after another. Ben Carson a few years ago at Johns Hopkins. And this, when did we get to a point where college students must be protected from ideas and thoughts and speakers who might offend them in some way?
Well, and the reason that we put in the title of the book, the left outrage industry, as opposed to liberals, there are true liberals out there who still believe in free expression. And I think, even the new left of the 60s, it was about free speech in many ways, and now it is the opposite of that, and that is frightening. And so we want to bring those people in. The End of Discussion is written in such a way that they will not be angry reading this book, I don't think.
Yeah, and we always talk, though, isn't it interesting, Mika? We always talk all the time about certain things that are offensive. If somebody on the right says it, but if somebody on the left said it, it would get a collective yawn.
That's a constant problem. Does the right have any role in this?
Yes. Good question. We're glad you asked it. We thought you might. So we want to be intellectually honest in End of Discussion and recognize this is not purely a phenomenon of the left, of course. And we go through and routinely call out our own side and even ourselves personally in our contribution to this problem. We do believe, however, that this is primarily driven by the left, and we cite quite a number of left-of-center thinkers and opinion shapers who agree with us. And I think the reason is the right's outrage merchants, and we certainly have them, are more easily written off and sidelined by cultural tastemakers as sort of cranks and angry people. They are less impactful than the lefty versions because the left tends to dominate some very important cultural institutions, be it the entertainment industry, much of the media, and certainly the academy.
Don't you like how guys understated? I wish I could be that understated.
Understated, yes.
In a really good way. Yeah, they don't kind of control. They control the triggers of America's culture.
We also point out that there are plenty on the right who might wish that we were better at this game, and we advise, hey, maybe that's not the way to go, because being offended by every little thing and throwing flags all day long is not a fun way to live life.
By the way, did you see Chris Pratt, who is like
pre-apology?
His pre-apology.
Oh, that was great.
I heard about it.
It was awesome. He did a pre-apology. This guy, I took Jack to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, and just the beginning of him singing as he went through the cave after Aliens was worth it. But he did a pre-apology on Facebook for anything you might say that others found offensive during his press tour in Jurassic World. And it reads this. To those I will have offended, please understand how truly sorry I already am. I'm fully aware that the subject matter of my imminent forthcoming mistake, a blunder, possibly to be dubbed Jurassic Gate, is most likely in no way a laughing matter. To those I will likely have had offended, rest assured I will do everything in my power to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
You should do one of those.
I need one for every day.
Yes.
And probably my crush on Chris Pratt increases.
Yes, there you go.
And he needs End of Discussion.
Yes, he does.
All right, End of Discussion. The book is End of Discussion. You could read an excerpt on our site, mojo.msnbc.com. Mary Catherine Ham and Guy Benson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And speaking of Chris Pratt, the franchise may be 22 years old, but the latest Jurassic Park film did something that no other movie has ever done. That story is ahead.